Definitely very loud outside. Why is it so loud? Why is it so loud? Welcome back to my channel. I am currently planning quite possibly the most ambitious project I've ever tried to pull off. And honestly, I actually have no idea whether I can achieve this, whether I'm going to be able to do what I'm planning to do. But I thought I'd make the announcement, put it out into the world, even if I can't pull it off or don't manage to pull it off within the time frame I want to. So back in the summer of 2015, I bought a 1973 Volkswagen van, bright orange, on our trip around Montana. And it was an amazing van. We had so much fun in it. We ended up driving it all the way back to California. But something that's common with these vans is that the engines that are air-cooled easily overheat and break and need replacing. So for years it sat with a broken engine needing replacing. Eventually, end of 2019, I had done a bit of research, reached out to my friend Jehu, and had planned to replace the broken engine with an electric motor and run the van on Tesla batteries. Then early 2020, COVID hit, and it became the perfect lockdown project for me to work on this van. And I spent 3 months most days going into the workshop, converting this van myself with zero experience. I learned to weld, I learned a lot about how electric cars work, and with Jehu's help, managed to successfully convert my van to electric. Now, since then, throughout 2021, was running a video kind of podcast series where I'd take guests around LA to different projects, doing social impact work and having deep conversation. And that was a really fun series to film. But then me and Raya left LA and we've been traveling around in our school bus, bought land in Costa Rica, drove it down there, starting a whole new chapter in our lives now with a baby on the way. And I've been scratching my head for a while. What can I do with this van? It's just been sitting at my friend's house, not being used. So I've come up with an idea, and it might be one of the most ambitious ideas I've ever had. I want to take it from LA, where it's been for the last literally 7 years, and I want to drive it across the States to the East Coast. Now, to make it more challenging for myself, I want to do it fully solar powered. And for those of you that know anything about solar power, that is a massive amount of solar power needed to charge every day, fully charge the van. Now, there's lots of reasons why this is a crazy idea and lots of reasons I shouldn't be doing it right now. Firstly, it's the worst possible time of year in the Northern Hemisphere where we are. It's like winter, it's less daylight per day, and the sun's lower in the sky. So that's already causing me massive problems in planning. Also, the van itself is not aerodynamic at all. It's like anti-aerodynamic. It's a brick basically. So in terms of getting maximum mileage, it's not the perfect vehicle to try and travel solar powered on. You see these like spaceship looking cars that are like fully like perfectly aerodynamic and you get maximum range, they're super lightweight. This is the literal extreme opposite of that. And I'm giving myself a really unrealistic time frame to try and do this in. Basically, just to fill you in on the bigger picture, I'm currently in Costa Rica. I've been in Egypt working on some cool projects with COP27. Maybe the next video that'll come out will be a little kind of wrap up of my time at COP, which was super fascinating. Anyway, it's not like I'm sitting being able to plan this trip meticulously. I'm really, honestly, I'm just throwing it together and hoping it works. To make these videos, we rely on partnering with brands that want to support our channel. So I just want to thank GrowattBF for sponsoring today's video. This is the GrowattBF Infinity 1500 portable power station. We've used many portable power stations over the years, and they're only getting better and better, higher capacity, more lightweight, faster charging, and more affordable. When I was planning this trip in the van, I knew that one of the most important things to have is a battery bank that can charge everything I need and allows me to save all the power in my main batteries for driving to maximize my mileage. So the Infinity 1500 fits that job perfectly. I'll be living out the van the whole trip and it has no outlets. So I need a solution to charge all my camera gear, laptop, and everything else. As you may know, I've always been excited about adventure travel and living in vehicles, but also filmmaking and using tech to tell stories as I travel. So charging equipment has always been something I've struggled with. From when I was living in my minibus 18 years ago, where I ended up melting a battery that I'd rigged up next to the engine, or in my double-decker bus 15 years ago running a diesel generator to create enough power. Even when my friends and I took the train to China in 2008 and the train had no outlets, I had to wire our extension cable into the ceiling fan to charge our laptops. I've always prioritized having power, and especially as I'll be daily vlogging this whole big trip, I'm glad to have technology now which makes it easy to have the ability to charge high-powered electric devices on the move, and that's so reliable. So let me tell you more about the GrowattBF Infinity 1500 portable power station. For starters, it has a humongous capacity of 1,512 watt hours and a maximum output peaking at 2,000 watts surge capacity, which is so powerful that it can run things like an air conditioner, a coffee maker, or a hairdryer. It has fast charging capability, so from a wall charge, it can go from 0 to 100% in 2 hours and 0 to 80% in just 1 hour, making it one of the fastest charging power stations in the industry. It also doesn't need a special charging adapter brick and can just use a standard cable straight into an outlet. One of the features I'm most excited about is the 2.5 hour solar charge time with up to 800 watts of solar input. Again, making it one of the fastest and highest wattage solar charging power stations in the industry. And basically this entire trip, I'm going to be charging this on solar, so I am especially grateful for this. It has an array of output ports and even has a wireless charger on the top of the device, so I can just place my phone on the top and it'll always stay charged. In total, there are 12 outlets which can be used at the same time, including 2 USB-A ports, 2 USB-A fast charging, 2 USB-C, 4 AC outlets, and a cigarette lighter output. One of the most impressive things is how lightweight and portable this power station is for the capacity it has. It only weighs 16.5 kilograms or 36 pounds, and with its dual handles, it's really easy to carry. I love that I can monitor the power station from my phone app, either through Bluetooth if it's within range, or through Wi-Fi if it has access to a Wi-Fi connection. That means I can check the charge and change settings remotely. It has clever advanced features so that during a power outage, it will automatically switch on, which makes it a perfect backup for powering essential devices in an emergency. If you need even more power, you can even daisy chain up to 3 of these together. If, like me, you live out of a vehicle or need a portable high-powered system for work or as a backup at your house, and you're looking for an all-in-one power station to keep you charged up, you can check the link in the description for more info. As you follow my trip across the country, you'll see me making the most out of this every single day. And thanks again to GrowattBF for supporting this channel. And like I said, it's because of brands like this that we get to do what we do. Right, let's get back to the video. So I'm in Costa Rica for another week. I'm flying to LA to try and start this trip, and Raya is flying to New York, and the plan is I've got 20 days that I've allocated myself to travel roughly 3,000 miles to meet Raya for Christmas. My family are flying out, or my parents are flying out to New York. We're gonna celebrate with our families. I can't be late. So I've got 20 days, 3,000 miles. But one of the other constraints is I have limited mileage per day, probably absolute max 200 miles range. And that is if I'm going 40 miles an hour on a flat road. That's not really gonna realistically happen, but I am gonna try and stick to like 40, 50 miles an hour, probably not go on any of the freeways, like try and stick to as many smaller roads as I can. So despite all of these things, the time of year being the worst, it being the least aerodynamic vehicle, the limitation on mileage. Also, I need obscene amounts of solar panels. And this is the final hurdle really, is that I'm struggling right now to get the correct solar panels. I need lightweight, flexible solar panels. I've been talking to some experts. I've been trying to get some in time. I was literally on a call earlier. They're like speaking to this guy in China.
I would need to get those made today and get them out to get anywhere near your December 1st. So,
yeah,
you know,
if we don't take a gamble, it feels like the trip's already going to be kind of postponed because we haven't got any other options really. There's a lot of restrictions in China right now because of a new COVID outbreak, so there's delays on shipping. It's gonna be a miracle if I get these solar panels. Also the cost of the solar, I'm currently chatting to a guy that's gonna help sponsor getting these solar panels made and shipped out. There's just so many moving parts to this that I don't know whether they're going to come together. Absolute best case scenario, the solar panels are going to arrive on the day that I'd originally planned to leave. They could be a week late in arriving, in which case I need to probably cut the trip short or something. This is really being thrown together last minute. I'm doing my best. There's a very small window for me to do this trip, and the optimist in me believes this can happen. Now, something that would be cool for some help on from you guys watching is I'm gonna stick to this southern states, basically as far south as possible, because that's gonna be the best sun. So I'm looking at the rough route that I'm thinking. So we'll be starting in California, we'll head into Arizona, and then into New Mexico, into Texas, and then probably Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, or drop into Florida. Or if I'm really ambitious and we're doing well for time, I'm gonna start heading up the East Coast to New York, which is where I'm gonna be spending Christmas. But I at least am trying to get to the East Coast. If there's any cool projects you think I should visit on the way, if I have time, really cool, sustainable, renewable, green energy projects that are focused on exploring better ways to live in harmony with our planet, better ways to harness energy, better ways to do life, community together, basically reimagining the infrastructure and society we currently live in. I really want this channel to be, as well as kind of adventure travel, bits of our life, renovation projects, I really want it to be focused on how can we reimagine in a really fun, explorative way and a hopeful way. How can we reimagine how we can do things? So this solar powered trip across the States is part of that vision, really. How can we, in a fun way, reimagine transportation, harnessing the sun's energy to travel long distance, just doing things different? How can we start transitioning away from fossil fuels? And I know there's other complications and it's not all perfect with electric, but I think just looking at, what are the first steps? How can we start experimenting? How can we start imagining something different? So as if this isn't challenging enough, I also want to daily vlog this real time and draw you guys into the adventure, maybe even do some live streams whilst I'm out on the road tackling this project, probably running into lots of issues, but that's part of the adventure. And with doing the daily vlogs, I'd love to also use that as an opportunity to fundraise throughout the trip, raising money for a project or multiple projects. And for me, it makes sense to do that around people that don't have access to power. Maybe there's outages, maybe coming into the winter months as well, they can't afford energy bills. If any of you know of organizations helping people with that, whether it's in the US or even in Ukraine right now, I know a lot of their energy grids are down and we're going into the winter months. That's going to be brutal for people and it's going to be really hard for people to survive. So I'm really open to suggestions, and it's cool for me to make more of an unplanned sit down chatty video gearing up to this series, because I'd love your input or ideas. So please do comment below any suggestions. So there we go, there's the ambitious idea. And unlike most of the other projects or trips and expeditions and things I've done, this seems the most uncertain because there's so many things that need to fall into place for this to actually work out. And I'm definitely foreseeing a lot of obstacles and things going wrong. Anyway, despite all of this, I'm really optimistic. I think we can do it. I will keep you updated on the plan. I guess you'll find out early December when I launch the daily series or not, but do stay tuned. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, like I said, the next video is all about my experience at COP27 in Egypt. Very interesting time. And then, we'll see what happens, but stay tuned and I'll see you next week. Peace.